Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris Blair here, and I've got some really exciting news to share with you. The Listening Room is going on the road in just about 2 months. February 8th through the 13th, we're going to be heading out of Miami, going to the Bahamas on the Norwegian Gym cruise. We've got huge acts like Big and Rich, Gretchen Wilson, Craig Morgan, Jody Messina, and many more. We're also doing Listening Room Writers Rounds with writers like Kelly Archer, Phil Barton, Chris DiStefano, Liz Rose, Brett James, and me. I'll be playing a couple songs. It's going to be a lot of fun, and speaking of fun, there's going to be some really cool things to do on the boat as far as activities go, like belly flop contest, silent disco, trivia, line dancing, whiskey tastings. It's going to be an absolute blast. So come see the shows, get exclusive merch, and watch us do this podcast live. Just come hang out with us. Tickets and information you can find at bootsonthewatercruise.com. That's bootsonthewatercruise.com. Get your tickets today, and I hope to see you there. You're listening to Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. For more information, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at SBT Songs, or check us out at chrisblair.com. What's up, everybody? Chris Blair here, and welcome back to Stories Behind the Songs. This week, I've got Matt Mulhare on the podcast. We're going to dive into how he decided to come to Belmont right here in Nashville, very last minute, and everything that has happened for him since he got here. From signing his first publishing deal at Red Creative Group. And then we're going to dive into songs like Things I'm Going Through that he wrote for Travis Denning, Fine by Me for Chase Matthews. And we're going to talk a lot about co-writing and collaborations and what that means to him and everything that happens in Nashville around songwriting. So let's get to it. Here is Matt Mulhare. All right, we are back in Nashville. Matt Mulhare in the house. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, thanks. I'm feeling a little big after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. Know? Yeah, I ate double my weight probably.
Yeah, it's always bad. It's always dangerous, but you have to do it.
Yeah. I've been on like this healthy kick and don't typically do that. And then I was like laying watching football, just miserable. But
it's the one day a year that you kind of just get the free pass where you're just like, all right.
I mean,
I'm just going to eat.
I might have a few of those days.
Right. But it's like Thanksgiving, at least for me, I'm like, give me all the food.
I'm
right. Good. Yeah. The Friendsgivings, the Thanksgivings. Sign me up. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys had a big Friendsgiving last night.
We did have Friendsgiving last night, and I should have probably not eaten so much so I could look a little trim, a little more trim for the camera
today.
We'll
edit. We'll
slim me up. Yeah, Zach, slim me up.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's dive in. Thanks for coming, and we're gonna dive into a couple songs.
For having me.
Let's just start from the beginning. You're from New York.
Yeah.
How'd you get into music in the first place, and then walk us through how you got to Nashville?
I was really little. My mom has videos of me, probably 3 years old. She bought a karaoke machine for me when I was really little.
Yeah.
And I'd play this fake guitar, my headphones on, singing Kenny Chesney songs. So it's kind of really early when I started singing. I picked up a guitar probably for the first time when I was 5. My parents got me in some lessons. I don't really know how long that lasted. I don't think it was long, but I hadn't touched a guitar from probably 5 years old until 6th or 7th grade. And I picked it back up, got playing. I took new lessons, being like, I need somebody to just teach me from the ground up with a music teacher at school. And then it wasn't challenging enough. So I just kind of taught myself. I just started playing covers. And then a teacher at my high school was in a band in the 90s. Like he'd always played music and then didn't work out for him. So he became a teacher. My mom was subbing at school and she knew that I sang at home upstairs in my bedroom. The teacher was a singer and she was like, make him sing. So I started, the first time I sang in front of anybody was probably my junior year of high school. And then it just made sense. Like I don't know what clicked. It was like, okay, this
felt right.
This might work. Yeah. It was like more people would come. Like we did it every week. Like people were skipping class to come, and I was like, okay, this is cool. This might be able to work. And I started kind of playing gigs at that point, writing really bad songs. And then we came on a family trip to Nashville, and we ended up visiting Belmont. I was like, I will never go to school here. There's no way I'll go
Really?
I was like, there's no way I'll go to school here.
Why?
I think I was like kind of hell-bent on doing baseball after school.
Yeah.
And coaching baseball. That was like where I was really like, I love this. Then I started playing more. Me and my dad took a trip down here. And my dad does screening and embroidery for work. He has a business back home. And he's been doing Brad Paisley's merch since like I'm in 3rd grade maybe. So that was also like another avenue leading me to music. And we had come down here and they set me up at a meeting at ASCAP, and I sat down with somebody who was like, hey, if you really want to write songs and do country music, you need to be here.
Mm.
My dad kind of looked at me and was like, bro, you kind of got to go to Belmont. So I ended up going to Belmont, and that's kind of how I got here. It was just like everything kind of, just the universe all working together to get me to Nashville, even though I didn't know that was where I was supposed to end up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like very much, it was such a quick process. I remember my parents being like, you need to figure it out, bro. Like, decision day was coming up. I was going to either go to state school back home for 2 years and then come to Nashville, or just go straight to Nashville. I was like, we're just going to send it.
So was this trip like during your senior year?
Yes, the trip with my dad was during my senior year. I think it was like January or February, and you have to make your college decision by May 1st. And I hadn't even applied to Belmont at that point. So I had to apply, get accepted, and make a decision within like 8 weeks. And it was like, once we sat down with the guy and he was like, bro, you need to be here, we knew it was a wrap. Like, I went home from that trip and I looked at my mom and was like, it's probably going to be Belmont. Like, I'm going to go 900 miles from home.
Wow. And
we're going to try and make it work.
Yeah.
And I ended up here. And it worked out. Thank God.
Yeah.
Just like it was supposed to, I think.
Yeah. You've already done a great job. So anxious to dive into some of those songs here in a little bit. But so what was it like when you first got here? Did you immediately start pursuing a publishing deal?
No, I honestly didn't really know what that was until after I had got here. And you kind of like learn Music Row and you're like, okay, this is how you make an income doing this. I got here and I thought I was going to be an artist. I put out horrific music, like so bad. Like my parents, like they helped me so much in being like, hey, this is good or this is bad. And I've said that on this stage before. And it was like, we thought at the time, like we were doing the right thing. And then I got to Belmont and we learned like, oh, okay, this is not what you want to be doing. So I thought I was coming here to be an artist. I had no idea. I knew nobody.
Yeah.
Like I met so many people. Like I met my best friend, Trent Wayne, who's played here with me a couple times. Like we met pretty early on freshman year and we just kind of figured it out together. And, God, it was just like, yeah, Belmont was interesting, but it got me here and it was like, I learned so much just, I mean, I made the decision on a whim to go to Belmont. It was like, all right, I have to just learn everything now.
Yeah.
And just be present and just take it all in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know it's so many people when they first move, there's just so many different aspects of the music industry.
Yeah.
And, I hear that all the time. People think that the artists on the radio just write their songs or what's a pub deal, what's, all this kind of stuff. So you're getting flooded with all of this knowledge when you first move to town and you kind of get your core group of guys together and all of that. So walk me through then what happened that led you to your pub deal.
Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of crazy. So, I mean, I think all of that songwriting pub deal aspiration kind of happened after I was like, okay, I put this really bad music out. I should just sit in this room and just write songs until I can't even see straight. So I just kind of just hit the ground and just wrote and wrote and wrote. And then COVID happened. And then I use all of COVID as just writing school, basically. And I just wrote until I literally couldn't anymore. And leading into like my junior year, I guess, at Belmont, I had applied for Country Showcase. It's like this big thing that they do for a couple genres at Belmont. I was like, all right, screw it. I knew I didn't want to be an artist at this point, but I still wanted to just apply and just be like, let me see if this leads to anything. And a girl who was on the board for Showcase was interning at Red Creative Group. Shout out Emma Martin for this, by the way. And she had passed along my songs I applied to Showcase with to the creative director, Taylor Lamb, who then reached out to me for just a meeting. He was like, let's just hang. Like, I just want to get to know you. I really like your songs. And we sat down, and this is probably November of 2020. So after all COVID and everything. And we met. He set me up on a write. The normal, like, introductory stuff. Like, let's just see what happens. And 2 years later, that's who I ended up signing with. I mean, he sent me to every publisher in town championing me. And it's just, I would go into his office, play him new stuff. He'd be like, here's where this can be better. Here's where this is strong. I would look at it and be like, I like this song, but I don't think it's the best. And I think we just really built up a great relationship to where by the time I got my first offer, he was just like, all right, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work with him for that whole time because he was such a great champion.
Yeah. It's so important to have that kind of relationship.
I think it's invaluable to a new songwriter getting into a publishing deal because without the champion, like, it gives you somebody else fighting for you.
Yep.
That really does believe in you. And I know that he's got my back, like I've got his 100%, and we're going to try and build this thing up together.
Yeah.
I really do think it's important.
Yep.
But, getting that deal was hard. It was a lot of work.
Yeah. Getting any deal's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people move to town every single day? I mean, it's just, and there's a lot of great talent. There's a lot of not so great talent, and it just kind of muddies the waters. And I mean, you got to be persistent. And I think, that building that relationship is just, it's like you said, it's key.
Yeah. And I think that was such a big thing for me because, like I said, he had known me for 2 years before he'd offered me a deal. He'd sent me to, every publisher that I asked to meet with, he sent an email and was like, you should meet him. Like, that to me was like, this is my guy.
Yeah.
So it's like hand in hand, we just attacked it together. And it was like all of that build up, all the rights he set me up on, just like being able to talk to him honestly and openly. I just knew that it was somebody that I could work with and led to the deal. It's like just being open and honest was like the biggest thing because writing songs is hard. But like, if you want to write hit songs, like you need to really get down into it and really just start ripping it apart. Just being like, hey, here's where this could be better. And I was able to talk to him like that and try to figure it out. And he helped me along the way. And just, like, that relationship is so important.
Love it, bro. Thanks for sharing that. I always love everybody's story on how they got here is so cool and unique. So I love starting like that. Let's dive into a song. I want to go back to before you even got that deal. Yeah. You had an idea going through in your head. Yeah. So talk to me about how you came up with that, and then take me into the writer's room, kind of from start to finish of how that song was born.
Yeah, I had that idea in my phone. I don't even know where I got the idea. It doesn't matter. But I was just sitting in my room one day.
Hold on, do you do that a lot? Because I'm a writer too, and there's sometimes where I go to my notes app and you hear something and you write it down. Do you do that? Do you go back and look at your notes app and be like, what is this?
Yeah,
where did this come from?
Bad.
Like, yeah,
I'll look at my notes app and be like, bro, I don't know what you
were
know what you were thinking that day, but you should delete that from your phone. But then I never delete it because you just never know.
You never know.
It's worked in my favor. There's been ideas recently where I almost took this idea out of my phone because I thought it was so dumb.
Going through this one?
Not that one specifically, but there's been a couple of ones recently where I'm like, I almost deleted this title from my phone like 2 weeks ago, and we wrote it and was like, oh, thank God I didn't delete that idea from my phone. But
okay, sorry, side note, I was just like,
the song notes section can be a scary place. Like, you're in the trenches of your mind in that list. But I had just written down the phrase "going through," and I was like, just trying to figure out a way to flip it. It's like, it's not anything groundbreaking when you just look at the title, but I was sitting in my bedroom just like fooling around with it, and I was like, it would be cool if I can write this hook to where it's like, I'm going through something, but also saying like, I'm lying to myself or lying to dad on the phone and being like, oh, I'm just driving around, like there's nothing crazy happening here. That's the only thing I'm going through. And trying to flip it like that. So I just kind of sat in my room for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes and just kind of played that little progression and hashed out the bones of what is the verse and the chorus. And I just sat on it for like a week or two. And I brought in my buddy, Jordan Dozzi, who I think he's been on.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. He's my boy. And we have written a lot of songs together. And I brought it into him and he was like, yeah, this is cool. Like, let's beat it up a little bit. And we changed some lyrics in the chorus. To where it's just a little more colorful and just, he saw what I was doing. And that's the beautiful thing about co-writing is like, you have somebody else there to be like, okay, I see what you're doing. This might make it clearer. And it did. It made it stronger, in that chorus. And we wrote the second verse in that bridge. Just kind of did a little guitar vocal demo, forgot about it. Just kind of handed it in. It was put on hold for Morgan Wallen for a month or two. And then they took it off and I signed my deal in the time that we wrote it to the time it was on hold. And then played my first time here with my publisher, Red Creative Group, with Travis Denning and Cole Taylor and Noah Hicks, and we were all here. And it was like the first thing I did as a signed writer, as a part of the Red family.
Takeover night, yeah.
Yeah, so we did like a takeover night there, and I had done the whole bit of being like, oh yeah, he put out 36 songs, like I just missed the record, like whatever. And Travis heard me play it and he was like, I'm gonna cut that. He was like, what, just put it on hold for me now. And I was like, okay, if you say so. And I honestly didn't really believe him at that time. So I was just like, okay, like this is just for the show. Like, oh wow, okay, right. And legit a week later, he called me. He was like, hey, pull up to the studio tomorrow. We're going to track things I'm going through. And it was just like the craziest, like farm to table song cut. Cause it was like, all I did was play it. Like I was just up there just trying to play my best songs.
Yeah.
And it was like, he put it out as a single, I think in like June of 23, maybe. And I mean, I still play it out probably 90% of the time, unless I'm like, oh, I'm going to try new things. And then it never works out. And I'm like, I'm going to go back to the basics and play what I know, but, that was just such a good, I had such a good time writing that song,
Yeah.
Going back to my parents, it was like, I sent them that chorus. I was like, do you guys think this makes sense? Is this any good? And my parents will say, no, dude, this is not good. But my dad was like, I think you got something. And so I was like, all right. Because he wouldn't normally say that if it was like something that he wasn't crazy about.
Yeah.
So, and it was just like, it gave me the confidence to throw it out in a room with whoever, it ended up being Daz.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, I think this is cool. Like, I think this makes sense. It was just like, it was probably the song that got me my deal, kind of. It just, all the stars kind of aligned to that song being the thing that like helped me get up, Yeah,
it's a really cool journey just walking down this path with you, like, just building that relationship, with the Red family before you got signed. I'm sure just the emotional roller coaster of having a song on hold with Morgan and how exciting that must have been for you.
Yeah.
And then finding out it's dropped But then, coming to just, playing a show.
Yeah.
And Travis was like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
and
let's do
Travis has
this.
been my guy. Like,
Yeah.
Travis has been awesome for me. And I mean, he's like one of my best friends now. It's like, he's another just champion of my songs. He's cut a couple songs that we've written together. But yeah, I mean, it's just sick. Like, if you would have told me, when I was a senior in high school that I gotta be doing this now, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Okay, right, sure. But I mean, I'm just thankful that I'm here.
Well, let's hear a little bit of it.
Yeah. I hope this thing's tuned. I tried to tune it this morning. I hadn't touched it in a few days. You got that? Is that all right? All right. Should I put it here? All right. I was sitting at home all alone when the phone rang. My old man on the line saying, "What's up, son? Tell me some new things." I didn't have the heart to tell him she was gone. So I just lied and said, "Pop, here's what's going on. I'm going 25 down a back road, just burning gas, you know how that goes with a cross breeze, cross me, dog up in a front seat, talking anything but the truth. Got Shelton on the station playing Kiss My Ass, Dad thinking I ain't doing too bad. From his point of view, this green grass countryside and a fresh can of chew are the only things I'm going through.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Man, such a great song. And Travis just crushes that song too.
He
man.
really did crush it. I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
It's like the first real major label cut that I got. And he just was like, "Man, we're going to kill this, bruh." And he played it for me, and I was like, "Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go."
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm really thankful for that song.
Yeah.
And for everybody that believed in it to get it to where it is now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by All Clear Audio. All Clear Audio is a custom and universal in-ear monitor company based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with a storefront right here in Nashville, Tennessee, where we film the Stories Behind the Songs podcast. All Clear strives to not only be the leading provider of high-quality custom and universal fit in-ear monitors, but also leads the way in customer service and care. With custom starting at dual driver all the way to 13 drivers, there's something for everyone. Head over to allclair.com, that's ALCLAIR.com, and use our code SBTSongs to receive 10% off. Thank you for the sponsorship. We love you guys at All Clear, and we hope that everyone out there listening takes advantage of this and enjoys them as well. Well, let's stay on the Dozzi train.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you have written a lot with him, and I know he's a great friend of yours. So let's just dive into another one of his songs. Tell me about Chase.
Yeah, that was crazy. Me and Doz have written a lot of songs, and in this stretch of time where like all of these songs kind of happened, we were writing a bunch at 9 a.m. And so I was just throwing out an idea. I was like, "Bro, I got this idea called Fine by Me," and told him like kind of how I thought it was supposed to go, and he kind of came up with that melody that you hear in the chorus, and we just hashed that out and like pretty much wrote what you hear on the song now, probably a couple lyric changes, and we were about to call it a day, and Ernest walked in, and I had never written with Ernest before, so it was like he came in, got his inspiration out on that porch, and then he was like, "Play me what you guys wrote. Like, what are you guys screwing around with?" And we had played him the chorus, and he was like, "This is sick." He was like, "What if that verse is," and then he just freestyled everything in like 6 minutes or like whatever, 10 minutes. I probably still have the voice memo somewhere in my app. Like, I'd have to go back and find it. But we just kind of sat there and we were like, all right, now we have a song. And we just like, he left and he was like, yeah, whatever, like send it to me after. We like had to just sift through everything that he had done and be like, what are the coolest parts here? What do we like? What do we like? It was literally like figuring out a puzzle because everything had happened so fast. And I was like, just sweaty, bruh. Like he walked in, I was like, okay, now we're in a different league here.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there just sweating. I'm like, just trying to take it all in. Daz is just hitting record on voice memos. He walks out and I'm just like, bro, that guy's
what
built.
just happened?
Guy's built different. And dude, we just figured out the puzzle. Again, did a little guitar vocal work tape. Literally heard nothing. Like we handed in, everybody, like the publishers were like, this is sick. Like, I guess we'll just see what happens. Heard nothing for months. I'm at my publisher Taylor's house. Me and my girlfriend are staying there, like watching his dogs while he's gone. And my girl is asleep. And I'm scrolling through Music Row because I see that the Chase Matthew track list was released. And I'm like kind of a nerd with the track list stuff. I'm like, I have to see like who's on here. Like, let me see who wrote what song. I'm just like scrolling through one day and I'm like, oh, let me see like what's going on here. And I'm like, yo, you got to get up. Look, I got this cut. Literally nothing. Like we heard nothing.
It's crazy, dude.
We heard like handed the song, didn't know it got pitched, didn't know that they held it, didn't know that they cut it. Like legit, they were just like, oh, here it is. Here's the track list. Like I kind of want to ask other writers that are on that record
if they knew
the same thing happened
Yeah.
because like, dude, that threw me for a loop. I was like, all right, at this point, I don't know what is ever going to happen with any songs at this point. Because it's like, the normal order of operations was abandoned.
Yeah.
And nobody knew. Like, I don't even think Daz knew. Like, I don't think Ern knew. It was just like, congrats, guys, you got a cut. You know, it was like Daz publisher texted us and was like, hey, congrats. I'm like, did anybody know about this? Did anybody know about this? I'm happy it happened. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, Chase killed that. It sounds amazing. It was just like, that was a whirlwind ride from the time that we started it and wrote it to it getting cut and like just put out into the world. It was like, this is so crazy. And that's the second time that kind of cut has happened to where it was literally like, hey, it's out. Or we're going to put it out.
That's the second time?
The second time. The first time, another me and Daz song. We wrote a song with Grady Block and Skis and a guy, Mike, a rapper. He goes just by Mike. If you know him, you know him. If you don't, it's okay. But literally, Daz called me one day. This was way before I signed my deal. And he was like, hey, remember that idea we started that one day? And I was like, yeah, what about it? He's like, oh, it's out today. Like, it was a Friday morning. And he was like, dude, hey, yeah, they just put it out. They just told us that they're just going to put it out. And I'm like, bro, what? No heads up. Like, hey, we're going to do this. So, yeah.
Dude, I've been in town
twice.
over 20 years, and I literally have never heard of this happening to anybody.
The patented, I've never heard of this before, you know? And of course, you know, it's crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We got to hear a little bit of it, but take us in. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind it.
Dude, I think it was just, at that point in my writing career, I was just so hell-bent. Like, every song was a flip. Every hook was a flip. And it was like, if you didn't have a flip in the song, your song wasn't going to get cut. And that was just like what was happening at that point. And so I was just trying to find any sort of thing that I could do. And I think I just wrote it down and I was like, oh, fine by me. And then I was just staring, like, you know, when you stare at something too long, you're like, I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. But I think I was just like staring at it and just trying to find something. And I was like, oh, I got it now. I figured it out. Like, you're just digesting the words. And I'm like, okay, I think I figured out how this needs to be said. So I don't really even know if there was like an inspiration behind it as much as it was like just digging to find the coolest way to say it, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things where as a songwriter, you do it so much that you just kind of have to find the coolest little thing to make it stand out. So I think that was just kind of what my goal was with that idea, you know?
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Do my best to Ernest and sing this verse. See what we got. She said she was from a little city somewhere way south of Mississippi, where the Gulf Shore's crash and the boardwalk's busy. Something hit me, I couldn't shake it off. I was feeling that heat when she said she was taking off. I've been waiting for an angel here for weeks. She was waiting for a reason not to leave. Her friends were saying, girl, we gotta go. So I pulled her in close and said, it's fine by me. If you roll over, steal all of my sheets. Baby, come over, take all of my tees. The ones I like most, that double XL that I got from Bass Pro. And if it's fine by you, I'ma do what a Tennessee boy's gonna do. Take you and spin you right across the room till I'm looking at what I'd love to see. And I'd love to see you looking fine by me.
Another great one.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I love playing that song out. It's just a fun one to sing.
Yeah.
Melodies are cool.
It is. It's a fun song.
Yeah. Thanks.
Let's dive into collaboration a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain process that, are you more of a lyric guy, idea guy, guitar guy?
That's a hard question to answer, I feel like, from my perspective, because I just kind of word vomit until I stumble on something cool.
Yeah.
My friends either love it or hate it when we write. It's like, if I've been rambling for too long, it's just like, all right, bro, let's just try and figure it out a different way. At least in a sense of collaborating with others. Sometimes I feel like if I write by myself, I'm just writing starts or ideas or something like that. Like, I might be a little bit more clinical with it and just be like, what's the best angle here? And just kind of take my time trying to get the right idea to pitch in a room. But I would say it's more melody. Like,
okay.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't really say what exactly it is. People say I have a thing. Like, every writer has a thing. I don't really know what it is. Like, you'd have to ask one of my co-writers, because I don't really pay attention to myself that much while I'm in the room. Like, I'm just kind of freestyling and trying to see like where can we land this? Like, what's cool? I feel like it's exciting to get in a room every day and just make something up. So It's like, I feel like as soon as I get the idea, I'm like, let's try and figure out the best way to make this sound like a hit, and let's really get at it. Yeah. And I think the excitement kind of just makes me go into that freestyle, like, let's move quickly mode. So, and I would say it's probably, it leans more towards melody, because I don't have quite the best vocabulary,
What about chemistry? We talk so much on this podcast about, how you build your crew, and, you've got your camp that you work with all the time. And I know, we've talked a lot about Daz, but, I don't think I remember, we've been doing this almost 100 episodes now. I don't think I remember just talking about going into a room with somebody you don't know. And there's a lot of that, especially when you get a pub deal, you're going in with somebody that you've never met before.
Right.
And that the chemistry is obviously a lot different when it's somebody that you were hanging out with last week at the bar or whatever,
right.
So what is that like for you?
And that's a challenge. And it is, the biggest thing I think is just being able to hang. Yeah. Like, if you can hang out and just not put a lot of pressure on the day, the first time that you're writing with somebody new, you're probably going to get a good song that day, because everybody's just learning each other. Like, you're just taking into account that this person operates differently than me, and I have to learn how they operate. And that takes practice, and it takes time of just being able to go in and just try and execute the best way you can. and just trying to build that chemistry and the rapport with somebody to be like, okay, let's do this again now that we've learned a little bit about each other and see what's the best way we can write a song next time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm still figuring it out with a lot of people, you know, like me and Trent have written probably 200 songs together. And it's like, we're still figuring out how to write the best songs we can and still figuring out, okay, I'm starting to do this a little differently. You're starting to do this a little differently. How do we figure out like the best way to write a song? And it's like, you're always going to be finding the right chemistry. Some people you're going to hit it off with immediately. Some people it's going to take time, but then when it does and it connects, you're like, this was worth everybody's time, you know? And I mean, it takes a long time in general to build your crew. Like most of my crew, I didn't even know until after I had graduated from Belmont. Like me and Trent met freshman year and we just kind of wrote with literally everybody that we could. And by the time I had graduated, we met our other buddy, Mitch Krigo, who's an amazing producer. Mia Mantia, SJ, who was just here. Like I didn't know any of these people until I was a senior in college. And now it's like all these years later, like we're the same crew, you know. It's like you meet new people. Like I met Chase McDaniel and Schmitty, and like all these people together that are excelling. And it's like it just takes time. You just have to just keep moving forward. Your hat literally just says keep showing up. And I think building that rapport and that chemistry with people is to just keep showing up.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anybody that you were thrown into a room with and didn't know that's now a part of your crew?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Schmitty was one that Taylor, my publisher, had set me up with, which was like, I think you should know this guy. Literally had never met him. He was like in town on a trip before he had moved from North Dakota. And I was like, this guy's cool. Yeah. I like him. You know, another one like Cody Loden, who I write with every other Tuesday. We got thrown in a room one day. I was like, I have no idea who this guy is. Like, just this big, quiet firefighter. Like, bro, I had no idea what I was going into that day. But we just hit it off. I mean, and we've written a ton of songs together at this point, and we've probably only known each other for 2 years. You know, it's like you slowly figure out who the people are, like just as you keep going and as you keep doing it, you kind of learn quickly. If you do hit it off with somebody, you know, some people you just know if this is going to take a couple sessions to like really get down with each other and like be able to just work, you know. But when you do hit it off with somebody and you're like, this is going to be awesome, it is awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
You've also had a lot of opportunities to go into a write with the actual artist.
Yeah.
Zach John King, Travis Denning, people like that. Like, how is that different when you have an artist in front of you that you know you're writing specifically for that person?
Yeah.
Versus you're just a bunch of buddies that are writing for you don't know who yet.
Right. Yeah, writing with your friends is the pressure is off. It's like, let's just write the best song that we can. Let's just see what happens. There's a little bit more leeway with what you could do that day. When you write with an artist, I wouldn't say there's more pressure in the room, but there's pressure to execute as best as you can and be able to deliver the best song you can that day for the artist. You know, with like an artist like Zach John's, like Zach knows what he wants to say. He has a specific style, so it's like you kind of have to see. And I'm just using him as an example, but it's like, what do you need right now? What can we do today that is going to fill that slot for you when you do go cut next? You know, it's like Clayton Mullen. I'm going to go write with him after we wrap up here. It's like, Clay, what do you need? You know, what can we do? Like, and like we're saying, it takes time to build that chemistry for the artist to look at you and go, I know you're going to deliver. Like, we could do whatever you want, or I need a tempo, or I need a ballad. I need something about this place or this specific moment. And it's like, you just kind of have to sit there and go, okay, what is the best way I could do this with the way I deliver art and the way they deliver art and songs, and just try and find the best way where they overlap, and try and come up with something cool, you know?
Yeah.
But writing with artists, it really is about just executing and being able to just hang out, you know? You want to be somebody that they want to be around. You know, you want them to bring you great ideas, like you want to bring them great ideas. So it's like, you just kind of have to build it up and just see what they need, you know? Just be open to whatever the person needs that day, you know?
Dude, you've come a long way from wanting to be a baseball coach to where you are now.
For sure, yeah. I'm like, bro, I don't want to coach baseball now, you know?
Yeah, man, you're crushing it.
Yeah, thanks. I'm trying.
Yeah.
You know? It's one day at a time.
I appreciate you you spending some time and sharing some of your story. You've got a lot of cool things coming out in early 25 too, and I know we can't dive too deep into that stuff. But any kind of little things that you want to share?
I think next year is going to be fun. I think there's a lot of people I'm working with that have been working with. They're about to like take their first steps into really doing their artist projects.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Schmitty to put out some new stuff. He's been putting out music, but I feel like next year it's really going to level up. Any of the Cadillac guys like Cody and Reese Rutherford and Chandler Walters, like all those guys, like I write with them pretty regularly. I think they're about ready to go, just let it loose and just go. I'm hoping Travis is going to put out some new stuff next year. There's some cool stuff in the pipeline. Be a good year. I hope so. Yeah. I really do. Yeah. You know, I just want to see everybody just do well and win, you know, because it's hard. Yeah. So if they can get something going, it's good for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
If you can go back to 8-year-old you, what advice would you give yourself today?
You know, I thought a question like this might get asked. So I like kind of thought about it this morning, and I know this might sound so stupid, cliche, but for real, like no dream is too big. Like you could go and do whatever you want,
good,
as long as you set your mind to it and you're willing to put in the work.
Yeah,
you could do whatever you want. It's just you just have to pick what that is, and just go. Like at least if you fail, you fail, but if you make it happen, you did it and you made it happen.
If you don't try, you're definitely going to fail.
Right. If you don't try, you're definitely going to fail. But it's just like, there really is no dream too big, you know? It's like, you can do whatever you want. I moved here literally knowing no one. It's like, everybody moves here knowing no one, and they make their dream happen. Yeah. So it's like, and that goes for anybody. Like, whatever it is that you want to do, just go do it and just put it into the world, you know?
Love it, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
This was great. I didn't even know that I was like cool enough to like be on a podcast, you know?
Oh yeah. We let all kinds of people.
Well, for sure.
in.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Yeah, you know. I'm just kidding. All right, everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to another episode of Stories Behind the Songs with Matt Mulhare, and we will see you next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. Make sure to give us a follow on Spotify if you enjoyed this episode, and make sure you click that notification button so you can keep notified when new episodes come out. We release brand new episodes every Tuesday, and you can find us on YouTube at Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to send us a comment letting us know what you thought of the episodes. We love getting your feedback, and share this with your friends. The more we grow, the more that we can keep doing this. It's our mission to bring you all of these great stories behind the songs from some of Nashville's most iconic artists and songwriters, publishers, producers, everyone in between, and a lot of my great friends. We love what we do, and we love sharing their stories with you. We appreciate all of the continued support. Thanks also to all of our sponsors, and we will see you all next week.